Move on to the next question, Katina. Shall we? Anne-Marie, would you like to read the next question? Very slowly, okay, Anne-Marie?
Okay, I'll read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it necessary for one who longs for liberation to inquire into the nature of categories? Just as one who wants to throw away garbage has no need to analyze it and see what it is, so one who wants to know the self has no need to count the number of categories or inquire into their characteristics. What he has to do is to reject altogether the categories that hide the self. The world should be considered like a dream.
Yes, thank you, Anne. We did spend quite a bit of time on this in our previous satsangs. Any reflections on this question?
Anuji, if I may.
Please, please.
Hello. To me, this just speaks to how we have a tendency to differentiate parts of our mind, like the logical, the rational mind is very useful for problem solving. The ego could at times be useful to people because it may help you get a better job or ask for the raise or say that you're a skilled, craftsman. And so we start to look at a duality of the mind, what parts are good and what parts are bad. And to me, Ramana is saying, don't analyze the garbage, throw it all out at once. Don't pick through and try to save, the good parts and the bad parts, because at the end of the day, thoughts are always dualistic because someone has to have the thought. So there's always a thinker and a thought. And what I was thinking about the other questions we're going through, it seems the prevailing part of this satsang today is we keep on talking about thought and detachment. And to me, the subtle difference between detachment, I feel thoughts are not a doing. We don't do the thoughts. The same as we don't breathe. We don't circulate our, circulatory system. We don't do that. So if we inquire who does this, it leads us back to not only our source, but provide some detachment in realizing that aren't the thought. The thought is done for you. You aren't the body. The body is bodying for you. So who are you? Who are you that all this is seen by? The beauty of self-inquiry. Thank you for letting me share, Bandhu.
Thank you, Ed. Very well said. Thank you. Yeah. I chose this question because this is one of the most perplexing things about tattva. Tattva actually means truth. And Bhagavan is saying, don't look at the number of categories and don't look at the garbage. When you have the garbage, you don't need to analyze it. The point to be made here is that you need to know what the garbage is. You don't need to analyze it, but you need to know what the garbage is. And garbage is my personality. The attributes of my personality is the garbage. I'm attached to my personality so much. I like everything about myself. Most of us, unless we had a very, very difficult childhood or something, most of us grow up with liking most of our attributes. Only few things we don't like about ourselves. So the first experience to have is to know what goes in the garbage, right? Not analyzing it, why it is in the garbage or which should have been in the garbage, what is it, should have been thrown. No, it's garbage, at least I need to identify it. Once I identify and throw it, then I don't have to need it. So that's why again and again Bandhu has referred to many, many times saying, I need to know my nature. My limited nature has to be identified by me to go to the screen, which is the permanent nature. The ultimate nature is camouflaged by my limitations, and therefore I need to know those limitations and accept them. So identifying my limitations is important as long as I don't analyze it, as long as I don't lament it, I don't brood over it. And these are all very subtle things. And Bhagwan has repeatedly reminded devotees that this Vicharamarg, contemplation, the process and the path of contemplation, is not for everybody. And therefore, he has given in Updesaram, maybe you can go the bhakti route, you can go the seva route, you can go whatever your nature. And that's why when we recognize our limitations, the blemishes of my personality, it clarifies to me what should be my path. And I'm very comfortable with my path. And that path, once I pursue it, then my guru walks with me. I feel the presence of the Lord. I feel the presence of my guru with me.
So, Bandhu, some people find meditation while working. That's one type of meditation, right? They cannot sit in one place and pray or chant. They are meditating. That's one type of meditation, right?
That is true. That's the best kind of meditation. Vivekananda used to say, I admire the devotee who doesn't go into the Himalayas to contemplate or meditate. I like that grihastha, that householder, who living in the house is contemplating on who he is or who his guru is. That's more difficult path. It's easier to give up things and go away. So I'm choosing the easier path. But to each his own at the right time. There's always a stage and a time and an age and time in life when you can take certain steps to get beyond certain things. After having absorbed all of the responsibilities, it may be a good thing.
Thank you.
It's all related and relative. I hope, Venkata, that kind of addressed your question. Yes, meditative contemplation throughout the day is the best. Bhagavan said that again and again, that make this Vicharamarg your thought process. And we would see that when we practice that again and again, only 1% of the time we become very conscious, and the contemplation is cognized by my mind as contemplation and ignoring other thoughts. When I'm able to circumvent, go beyond an aggravation, because I'm constantly contemplating on the limitation of my nature, then that moment when I recognize it becomes larger than the other turbulent moments. That's continuous contemplation. And then people around you begin to feel some kind of a vibration, a wave. They say it is very nice. Even though you just chat, it's because you're in a contemplative mode. You're not saying anything with an agenda. That's how people perceive you. There's no agenda here. That's why spontaneity is a very good quality to have. Don't plan too many things, just do it. And see how God works. And don't expect too many results that you expect. Because when you don't get what you expect, then God is walking with you. You all will remember that famous thing that got circulated before the internet became such a popular thing. This is from the 80s. And this had become very popular about the devotee who complains that God, when I see that when I'm walking and there was a picture of the beach with 4 footsteps being shown of 2 human beings. And then the devotee says, but when I had my difficult times, Then why did you stop walking with me, God? I only see two steps and during my difficult times. Do you all recall this? Maybe Mary Lou or Ramiro would recall, or Peter would recall, or Sandra would recall. Some of you are slightly younger than us, may not, because this was a very, very popular story. So he says, God, when I had my most difficult times, then why do I only see two footsteps in the sand? Why didn't you walk with me? And the God says, Guru says, no, no, no. At that time, I was carrying you. That's why you see only two.
That's a good one.
So that's the flip that takes place. My difficulties don't go away. My difficulties actually surmount. But I begin to see that as a blessing. And my definitions of success, my definitions of my guru blessing me becomes correct. You don't talk like everybody else saying, oh, God has been so nice, man. I've got a big house and I've got at least got one life savings, maybe two life savings. And oh, God is, yes, that's also a blessing. But the just exposition would be that you don't talk about that. You talk about what God has taken away and you see that also still as a blessing. I hope this makes sense.